Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into this, make sure you subscribe and turn on post notification because you already know we have to talk about this one. Gia Rose just left a comment that honestly has me looking at this whole situation completely differently. If you have been following Gia and Ryder today, you already know the relationship has been one of those stories where the internet is constantly trying to figure out what is actually going on. They were extremely close, they had tons of chemistry, fans obviously shipped them, and eventually it looked like the chapter came to an end. But now we have a new clue. And this time it isn't even coming directly from Gia or Ryder. It comes from completely different situation in
The Robert kissing
and
Sid's
let's get
mouth,
into it
and
because
at
my
first
theory
you're
is
probably
right. Ryder
thinking,
may
wait,
actually be
what?
trying to get back into Gia's side, while Gia is getting closer and closer to Nolan Bowl. And honestly, the timing is crazy. So here's where everything starts. Annie recently posted a TikTok joking that she was getting ready for my Netflix documentary, had texted her, I miss you. Now obviously the whole point of video was to make fun of the classic situation when an ex really comes back after the breakup acting like they just discovered your value. And Gia saw the post. But instead of simply scrolling past it, Gia commented, too relatable. And that immediately caught my attention because Gia and Ryder reportedly split a few months ago. So when Gia says a post about an ex texting I miss you is too relatable, we naturally start wondering, girl, who texted you? Then Addie made this even more interesting. She replied directly to Gia, we've both been there. Okay, that response is what made me stop. Because Addie didn't just like Gia's comment. She didn't just say same. She specifically told Gia we've both been there. Which makes it sound like Addie understood exactly what Gia meant. Now, does this prove Ryder texted Gia? Probably we can guess yes or maybe no. Because of course Gia's ex was Ryder, right? I want to make that very clear. We do not have a screenshot of Ryder alleged message. We don't have a Gia saying Ryder texted me. And we don't have a public statement from Ryder confirming anything. But this is indirectly Gia still saying that her ex texted her, I miss you. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's confirmed, but as a theory, it is definitely interesting. Because if Gia was talking about her own ex coming back and saying, I miss you, Ryder would obviously be the first person a lot of fans would think about. And I'm also the first person who's thinking about that person is Ryder because her ex was Ryder. That's common sense. That's so obvious. And remember, Gia and Ryder weren't just random people who happened to collaborate once. Their public history goes way back. They appeared together in rock spot content, including Guess the Post videos, and their public chemistry has been a major reason fans have speculated about them for so long. A January 2026 Guess the Post rematch was filmed between Ryder and Gia, showing that they continued to have a public working relationship, even after all the relationship speculations. They were even featured together on a 2025 rock spot song, I Got a Crush. So when you two people that have so much chemistry, a breakup doesn't necessarily mean all feelings disappear overnight. And this is where things get even more interesting. Because while Ryder may potentially be trying to reconnect with Gia, Gia has been spending a lot of time around Nolan boys. And before everyone starts saying, okay, so they're definitely dating, hold on. Gia has described Nolan as a friend.
Because the answer
So
completely
officially,
changes
that's
everything.
what we
And
have.
trust me,
Friends. But I think this is where viewers are going to have opinions. Because sometimes the internet doesn't look at what people say. They look at what people do. And Gia and Nolan have become extremely close. Their friendship has definitely caught people's attention, and even public profiles describing Gia's circles as referred to Nolan as a close mate friend. Now, being close friends do not automatically mean they are secretly dating. I want to emphasize that because there is a huge difference between chemistry and confirmation. Two people can hang out constantly, two people can be comfortable around each other, two people can have an amazing chemistry, but they can still generally just be friends. But when you put all this together with the timing of Gia's comment, that's when the situation becomes interesting. Because imagine this, Gia and Ryder break up. Some time passes, then Gia starts getting even closer to Nolan. And somewhere around the same period, Gia sees a post talking about an ex suddenly texts I miss you and evidently comments too relatable. And any response we've both been there. If Ryder really did text Gia, something like that, it would make the entire situation make a lot more sense. Because maybe Ryder is looking back at the relationship. Maybe he misses Gia. Maybe the breakup gave him time to realize he wasn't actually ready to let go. Or maybe he just had one of those moments where you miss someone because they're no longer part of your everyday life. And that's a very different thing from actually wanting to get back together. There's something people don't talk about enough. Something as the next thing I miss you doesn't mean I want to rebuild this relationship. Sometimes it simply means I miss what we had. And those are two completely different messages. But here's the part I really want to know. If Ryder did reach out to Gia, how did Gia respond? Because we don't know. And that could completely change the story. Maybe she responded, maybe she ignored him, maybe they talked, maybe she said she moved on. Maybe they're on good terms, or maybe Gia's comments wasn't even about Ryder at all. That's the frustrating part. We have a clue, but we don't have the missing piece. Meanwhile, Nolan is sitting right there. Because if GR really is moving forward with Nolan, then Ryder potentially coming back to the picture would create a completely different dynamic. Imagine being Ryder and seeing your ex getting closer to another guy after you were the one who decided to walk away. That would definitely bring up some feelings. But again, that's me analyzing the situation, not claiming that what's happening. And honestly, I think that's what makes this story fun. Because we're not dealing with this confirmed relationship announcement. We're dealing with little pieces of public information and trying to understand what they could have been. And fans have been watching GR and Ryder relationship for a long time. Their past interactions was already enough to create a huge amount of speculations. There were even recent fan discussions, especially asking whether the two broke up, which shows how closely people have been following the relationship status. But now there's another person in the conversation, Nolan, and that changes everything. Because if Gia is generally just friends with Nolan, then that's all there is. Maybe there's really close friends who love spending time together. And honestly, that's completely possible. But if something romantic is developing between them, then Ryder potentially reaching out at the same time was a pretty crazy time. And that's the question I kept coming back to. Is Ryder trying to get back to Gia while Gia is already moving on? Because those are two very different timelines. Ryder could be looking backward, Gia could be looking forward, and Nolan could simply be the person she's spending time with right now. Or maybe none of these things are connected at all. Maybe Violet texted Gia. Maybe Gia's too relatable comment was about something completely unrelated. Maybe no one really is nothing more than a friend, and we're all doing trying this best. Connecting dots that may or may not be actually found. But I would say this: Gia's comment becomes much more interesting when you remember the context. Someone's post about an ex text, I miss you. Gia says too relatable. ID says we've both been there, and then we're supposed to just move on. No man, I'm going to need answers because if 3 hours I keep talking about Ryder, that would mean this isn't just a story or an old shit. It could mean that Ryder has started reaching back out. And if GI is simultaneously getting closer to Nolan, then Ryder may have picked a very interesting time to write in this up. But until either GR or Ryder actually confirms this happened, I'm keeping this firmly in the theory category. And honestly, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Gia's too relatable comment was secretly about Ryder? Do you think Ryder actually texted her that he misses her? Or do you think we are reading way too much into one comment? And most importantly, do you guys actually believe Gia and Laura are best friends? Because I'm sorry, but I know the comments are going to have more opinions about this one. Let me know what you think down below, and don't forget to subscribe because at the end of few talks, you already know we are going to be talking about it. Because right now the story has one next one answer question. Did Ryder come back just when Gia was starting to move on? That was it. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, bye.